Hey everyone, back for episode 6 of Movement Matters. Cheers. This is my Graves Mountain Bluegrass Festival cup. Love that bluegrass. Yeah, anyway, so I did a windmill yesterday, a demonstration, sort of a stretch for a windmill. Had someone ask about a windmill. So windmill, what is this? And that's just basic windmill there. I'll sometimes have people learning with the kettlebell down lower, and sometimes we'll actually even have a pair of them. But that's what a windmill is. So just thought I would show what that was rather than try and describe it. So yeah. Let's see, let's jump into some things here. I had a guy in today, Millard, was talking about the speed in the swing. Never realized how important the speed was in the swing. And in the episode before, I believe, we were talking about force, or it was a couple ago. Force is mass times acceleration. So he'd been doing Simple and Sinister, which is one of Pavel's programs. And if you don't know who Pavel is, you need to look at that. So look that up, and then that's a big one. You'll have fun with that. So anyway, he'd been doing one of his programs, which is called Simple and Sinister, and he'd been doing it with a 24K kettlebell, which is 53 pounds, and now just the swing portion, he can do it with a 20K or 44 or even a 16K and make it really challenging because of the emphasis on the speed. So it's more pumpy, gets you breathing harder, and you're creating a lot of force through acceleration. So it's, it's big effort. But was surprised at how well, now that we focused on moving with speed, on fast, quick movements need to have fast movement, slow movements need to have slow movements. As an aside, when people aren't good at stuff, they tend to do their quick lifts slower and their slow lifts faster. So I want to see quick and slow. So he was feeling how that makes a big difference. And his brother David was in actually, and for the first time, I was talking about the hip movement a few episodes back as well. For the first time, he was feeling his hips drive the movement. I mean, he's been doing this for 3 months. And he finally said he felt the hips coming through versus the thought of lifting, with this top portion at all. He said, for the first time, I felt it completely out of the equation and was just feeling the hips lift the belt. So just goes to show you got to stick in there a little bit, because 3 months before he felt that. I mean, he's been doing hinges. He just started swinging a couple weeks ago, but he's been doing hinges for a while. And the light bulbs came on. He said, I think I just had a moment. The whole idea of touching the butt to the wall like we do a lot. Well, that's how we learn, butt to the wall. And then that turns into a hinging or a deadlift. So the butt to the wall is how you pattern. The deadlift is how you turn it into a drill. And he's been doing all that. We've been deadlifting, and now he's on to the swing, doing a quicker lift. And it was just now that he realized or fully felt what it was like to have that drive the movement. So hang in there, y'all. You got to hang in there and give it time to sink in. You can't push it. You can't make it come fast and it's going to come. It's like peeling layers off an onion. The next thing, let's see, skincare. Had a guy in yesterday. I'll talk a little bit about this. Let me grab this kettlebell so we can use this. When you're doing kettlebells, let's see if I can get this on here. Lots of the times people will pinch these calluses right here. See if I can hold this. Right across the palm of the hand here, right here. And it pinches as it rolls across and drags that skin up, and it can drag it up and start to be a real problem up underneath there. And it can cause these spots in here, and some across this first knuckle here too, but definitely all these, can get built up and eventually rip and tear, and that's very uncomfortable. So we need to learn how to take care of them. The first thing is we got to try and learn how to have a hook grip with the kettlebell rather than to grab it and pinch the skin down and hold it like this. Instead, I'm gonna hook grip it. I'm gonna let it slide down a little lower and come in from the bottom almost and hook grip it. So that now I'm literally pushing the skin back up instead of pulling it down. I mean, it's hard to explain. If you have a kettlebell and you do this, you'll know what I'm talking about. But you don't want to be peeling it down. You want to be pushing the skin up. And essentially, almost when I'm swinging, almost fully hooking it here. So rather than be holding it, it's just in a hook. Rather than be holding it here, so I can turn, it's just hooked in my hand. So I'm hooking it here instead of grabbing it up in here. And learning to make that pass from when I come from a clean, which is up here on my shoulder, see if I can get in here. When it passes down, it's in the palm of my hand. When it passes across my calluses, I don't want to drag it across. I really want it to almost free fall, and I catch it in the hook grip as I throw it to the bottom in the hook grip. So anyway, something to give it a try, or to give a try at to see if you're see if you can fix any problems you're having with your hands. But really focus on that. With the high volume stuff, the cleans, the snatches, swings, it can really go after that skin. So be careful there. So some ways to take care of that. I like this thing. I have a PVC with a piece of sandpaper on it. This one is 150 or somewhere along that line. Let's see. But you can just wrap it around the, I think it's probably around 150. I can't see. So, and then I just can put it right in that spot there and can just drag right on those pieces. I can do it on all the knuckles. And it's nice because it goes right around just like the handle would go. So again, the handle, trying to avoid pulling it like that and have it skip over and grab in my fingers. But this thing is a nice way to grind this down, keep them smooth. There's some other things. I mean, there's files and things like this that you can get at the drugstore that you can file. Has sort of a rough side on one, file on the other, keep them small, or keep them, ground down, keep them thin, right? And then you also can buy some socks, like some elastic tubing that you'd put underneath like a bandage or an injury that you're gonna wrap. And you can make a little hand sock that you can then grab the bell with, and it just puts a little there. You don't want something thick because you don't want it binding up in there, but just enough so that it gives a little protection and makes it a little more slick, a little less likely for you to pinch up into that callus there. But either way, work on keeping that out of the equation, because hurt hands, that's no fun. Yeah, you can't do much when your hands are hurting. So last story I'll give you about one of my students that was in today, and this really illustrated my definition of fitness that I use sometimes, which is I'm able to take care of my physical needs and one other person. And that might mean carrying them out of a building, right? So I gotta be able to haul, I gotta be able to pick stuff up and be strong enough to take care of them completely. So she walked in, and it was an older friend, and she had fallen and didn't hurt anything, but couldn't get up. So she walked up to her, said, "I got you," got behind her, hooked her arms, and just picked her up. And her friend couldn't believe how strong she was. And, she just treated it like it was no big deal. This is what I do. So when I think of fitness, that's what I'm talking about. So able to take care of yourself and one another, that's a good benchmark to have. So anyway, let's see. That's enough for today, I think. So cheers. Till next time.